Ready? 3, 2, 1. Hello, friends. Welcome to Behind the Lens, 8 at 4, Behind the Lens, the companion podcast and video series to 8 at 4, presented by VCU Massey Cancer Center from the Virginia Wayside Furniture Studio with sports, brought to you by the Richmond Flying Squirrels. I'm Matt Picilli with Kelly Lemon, Will Royer. Another great episode. I don't know how many episodes we've done of this so far.
6.
Should I say you've done of this so
7.
far, Will?
7.
Man. Anyway, we continue to have access and be exposed to new things that we wouldn't have even thought were happening and going on. And I want to start with RVA Strength, because that was a fascinating one that is one of those things that you could have totally driven by on your way home, on your way around town, and been like, what is going on here? Mm-hmm. And it's like a whole business and a whole thing that people are going, it's awesome.
Yeah.
How did you get turned on to that and then go do that?
So Trevor actually used to go to church with me. I haven't seen him in a while. I caught up with him recently and I realized he had started a business. So I went to check out RVA Strength and it was pretty incredible. He just pulls up with the trailer. You don't know what's in the trailer. He opens it up and he has a whole gym in there. He has barbells, dumbbells, everything you could think of. And he just pulls up to random places. They were in elementary school, and just get a workout in.
That was one of those. Sorry.
No, I mean, just does he state where he's going? Was this before or after the pandemic? How did he get the energy to do it?
So he said he bought the concept during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
It was like November of 2020. Mm-hmm. And he operates kind of like Smash Burger from last time. He just posts where he's going to be, and people come see him.
Yeah.
That is totally one of those things that I would see, like as I looked at the branding on the trailer, it's one of those things that I would see driving down the highway, and I'd be like, what is that? I'd remind myself to look that up when I get home, and then I'd say, that's awesome. I want to see a story on that. And you gave us that.
Yep.
That was really
But
cool.
would you go and do it then? Like, that's the bigger thing.
No,
you see the truck, you go research it, and then do you make do you go and
in
go?
the comfort of my basement. That's what I do. I don't, not with people. I don't think. Not yet. I'm not there. Culture and skateboarding, that was a good one, and there were other stories and kind of storylines that could have been followed within that from High Club Productions.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about Miles and skateboarding, but how that kind of got pieced together.
Yeah, Miles reminds me a lot of myself. He's a very creative guy, and he just found a way to do all the things he loves to do and make a living from it. And skateboarding is like his outlet. When you're working and you're providing services and doing all the things, you need that creative outlet just to be able to release. And for him, skateboarding helps him do that, meet people, build a sense of community, and just conquer things, you know what I mean? Do new tricks. It's pretty cool to see him out there on the board.
And the skate park is called, oh gosh, the name,
It's at Texas Beach?
Yes. So, of course, my mind, as soon as he said Texas Beach, I mean, I knew it's part of the landscape of the James River water system. However, a good Bloody Mary really came to mind because of Texas Beach, which, again, that name and that location is very much Richmond. And it's dope that they made that skate park that they built, and one of the things that's so Richmond is we will build our own, and so anyway, I went all around but that Texas Beach reference just really stuck to me as something that's so Richmond, but not skate related.
That, like I was saying about the storylines there, that one thing right there could have been the entire 8 segments of the show.
Yeah.
And knocked off a whole bunch of things with his business of High Club, but then the community, I loved and appreciated I guess I would say the knowledge that he has of the therapy that he's getting from doing that, and also the community that's there, and I just thought it was special how that type of community is built in to the activity, a hobby or sport of skateboarding, and the kind of standing around while you're waiting for the next person to go and et cetera. There are other sports that don't have that.
Right.
And I thought that was really cool. That's not something that gets expanded on there, but I thought that was really cool. To community, Que Pasa Festival. This was one that had been in talks for a while, and it had
The date got moved.
The actual event had been postponed because of weather, and then it finally happened, and Alberto gives us just an amazing look at the experience of what that was. But you were there with him.
Yeah.
We don't see you on camera, but we know that you were there. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, it was just awesome to be out on. To me, it was a non-traditional space to use for a big festival. I mean, we were right on the Canal Walk, kind of in the Haxel Point area, if you know that area, where all the artwork is, and Casa del Barco was kind of a large centerpiece of everything, but kind of right on the flood wall. And Alberto did his thing. I mean, again, to be a Latino, man that, we have right here on the staff, and a whole, large Latinx community right over on the south side, and then to have this festival that celebrates that culture so well, and have Alberto be able to be the spokesperson for it. I mean, it was just, he was in his element, as you see, he was in his group. He was comfortable, and that is one of the things that I loved the most about it is, and I told him, I said, this is you.
Yeah.
This is your turn to shine here. This is your turn to really show us who your community is and what it's all about. And I'm just excited to see him do more.
Yeah, he turned out a great piece. That was really cool. Great to have it in 8 at 4.
Yeah.
In sports, brought to you by the Richmond Flying Squirrels, we take a little bit of a detour from traditional quote-unquote sports, and we talk about fly fishing. Now, from my experience with the folks at Richmond Region Tourism, and having talked to them about the events that they have coming up, there are big fishing tournaments that are coming here. So that is a big part of sports tourism. But we took a more local look with James River Fish Report.
Yep.
I think is what it was. Tell us how that came together.
Yeah, so I met Andrew a few weeks ago, and I told him, when he told me he was a fly fisherman, I always hear that in the back of my mind. I never know what it is. And I'm like, I want to learn what that is. And we had a ball. He took me out in the James and literally showed me just like the community of skateboarding, there's an even bigger community of fishermen, James River fishermen. And he runs a social media page that he talks about the river levels, like we talked about the last week.
With the hiking? The rafting, yeah.
He tells you the river levels, what they're catching, how to catch them. And he's so knowledgeable about everything fishing. It was a pleasure to be out there with him.
The fact that there was all those, I know there's fish out there, but he was naming them like, this is what you're gonna get. And I was like, oh really? Like, right there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And we were like, we have to catch one for this video. We can't do this video without catching one. And at the last minute, he caught one. It was a beautiful moment.
Yeah, how much time elapsed from when you both agreed we have to catch one for this video until he caught one?
I would say about 30 minutes. Okay. We walked across the flood wall because he knew there was a perfect spot where the rocks were. He knew exactly where he wanted to go. And he actually got out in the water. He was wading through the water. And he's like a hunter, man. He sees movement and he attacks where he thinks the fish is.
One of the dopest things about that area in the James River is, like you said, he's a hunter.
Yeah.
He's in the water. But wow, look at those skyscrapers.
Yeah, right.
like, oh wow, look over there. That's downtown.
I know.
That's dope.
Yeah, there were a couple of really pretty shots that you got starting off, kind of panning around the flowers and getting him, and then there were also the skyline. Yeah, I mean, are you serious that we get to do this in this city?
Yeah.
Right.
So many great shots give themselves to you, but you still find ways to make them even better. That's awesome. Keeping it with nature a little bit, City Bees in education. Talk about how that one came together as well.
Yeah, so Dr. Holly is a friend of a friend. I was looking for a story and I realized she'll be a pretty cool person to interview. I know nothing about beekeeping, I'll be honest, but she was so passionate and she said she has a spiritual connection to the bees. And that was just fascinating to hear her passion for beekeeping and how she got into it and just what it means, how bees affect the human population. I knew a little bit, but she definitely gave me a deeper understanding.
it gave me a bit of a deeper understanding and respect for bees. And I want to show that piece to my kids who have had bad experiences with bees. But I think that that's really special that someone can have a totally different outlook on them and experience with them that brings joy to their life, but also to sort of the greater ecosystem. Is pretty amazing. Let's count the number of times I say ecosystem ever again. We're at 2 now because I've cited it.
And I just have to add, Holly's just dope in general.
She is.
And so, like, the fact that she does have these very different lifestyle, holistic wellness jobs, but when you just meet her every day walking down the street, like, you know, again, it's so good to see us highlight some of the leaders in this city. For those that we see every day, but we don't know exactly how they really are making change. So,
Right.
Yeah, to the point of making change and kind of granting opportunities. Elizabeth Redford and Tablespoons with what you did there. A great story, so much more that probably could be told about that as well.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Yeah, I told Elizabeth, I said, this story is going to be hard to condense into 2 minutes. I'll try my best, but the fact of just how she was able to create a space for people with unique abilities to thrive and feel included and actually learn skills that they can be proud of and celebrated by, like, it was amazing. Special education teacher who was able to create a curriculum baking so they can get actual credits for that. It was just really cool, and her staff is really special. Like, I really enjoyed them.
and the difference between them and, I mean, they're an actual school versus being a work development center. It's a school first that has some training that'll teach you how to do life skills versus some of the spaces are just work development places. I
Right.
think that's a bigger component is when you got the classroom part to it as well.
Yeah. Oh, Elizabeth's special in bed doing Next Move program for a minute now, and has added all kinds of new opportunities and outlets to engage people and help them grow with their abilities. It's fun to see. We had Wayne Epps, who's a sports reporter here at the RTD, talk about the name, image, likeness evolution. It's just in its first year now, and VCU had brought on the VCU Exchange, which allows potential businesses and student athletes to align and identify with one another as to whether that's going to be a good fit. Wayne gave me a full 15-minute, I don't know if it's an overview, breakdown, detail to detail about NIL that we'll have up on the Virginia Video Network streaming and mobile app for you to watch. But there really is a lot there. But it's neat to see how someone like VCU has kind of streamlined that process so that whether it's potential businesses or student athletes can kind of opt their way in and navigate that. Those things still need to go through approval processes. However, finally now in this first year, student athletes are seeing opportunities to capitalize, if you will, on their skills and what they do. And this was a long time coming in
Long
the NCAA.
time coming. I could do a whole podcast about how some people from the 90s need some rebates back because, again, those student athletes, yes, they are I can go in on this. They are students and they are athletes. However, being someone that has been heavily involved with the student athlete process from my days at UVA and at VCU, they are not regular students, and their name is making these schools millions, billions of dollars, and they still struggle when they get out of school, or their parents are still struggling, and why a lot of them choose not to even go to college. Why some of them choose not to even go to college and go straight to like overseas and things of that nature is because they have to provide for their families. I'm not gonna get into it though, but I'm loving the energy behind it now.
Let's talk about lifestyle and Able Woman. I think this is our last one to wrap up this Behind the Lens. Talk about Able Woman.
Yeah, so Able Woman was actually at the Next Moves event. She has a rare condition where one of her legs just was formed a little bit differently. And she really just has a passion for spreading awareness and talking to kids, letting them know this is okay to be different. And talking about bullying and, she was saying how even some kids who are different contemplate suicide. And she just wants to really like reach these kids and make sure that they have support growing up, to know that someone sees them and cares about them, so that hopefully they can, adjust well to life.
I loved her energy,
Yeah.
and her personality. Everything that I got of her from that segment, I really liked, and I hope that I can meet her somewhere along the line.
Oh, she's out there.
Yeah.
She's definitely out and about. I've seen her numerous times. However, I'm glad you got to like really, really let her speak, and so everybody else can hear. It's usually small quarters, where her story is being told. But the whole superpower. I mean, that's the whole thing. Kids feel like they are, powerful just because she's telling them that she's able.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a special one. Well, another special episode of 8 at 4 dropped this week. We hope you'll take a look at that on richmond.com, on your streaming apps, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, or your mobile devices. Download the Virginia Video Network app, Google Play, or Apple App Store. I'm Matt Pacilli for Kelly Lemon, Will Royer. 8 at 4 is presented by VCU Massey Cancer Center, where they invite you to imagine a future without cancer, and comes from the Virginia Wayside Furniture Studio with sports, brought to you by the Richmond Flying Squirrels. That's it. We'll see you soon.